Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of our podcast. I'm Naomi, your host, and today we're diving into something very special. A world filled with vibrant smells, sizzling sounds, and the stories of some of the most hardworking women I've ever met. We're heading to the streets of Bangkok, where the street food culture is more than just about food. It's a way of life. Behind these food stalls are women who pour their heart and soul into every dish they make. So today, we're not just talking about the food, but the women who make Bangkok streets come alive with their culinary art. Close your eyes and imagine the smell of grilled chicken, the sound of oil sizzling in a pan, and the hum of the busy street around you. Let's dive in. Bangkok, if you've been there, you know it's not just a city, it's a sensory overload. From the early hours of the morning until late into the night, the streets are lined with stalls serving everything from grilled meats to spicy soups. The sound of woks sizzling, the fragrant smell of lemongrass and chilies in the air. Every corner of the city feels alive with food. I remember my first evening in Bangkok, walking through the bustling streets near the Chao Phraya River at sunset. The sky was painted in hues of pink and orange, and the air was thick with humidity and the rich smells of food. You could see vendors setting up their stalls, each with their own specialty, while locals and tourists lined up, some chatting with friends, others snapping photos of the colorful dishes on display. One dish that immediately captures the imagination is som tam, the famous spicy papaya salad. You can hear the rhythmic pounding of the pestle in a mortar as the vendor carefully crushes the garlic, chilies, and lime. What makes som tam so special isn't just the freshness of the green papaya or the heat of the chilies, it's the care that goes into balancing the flavors sweet, sour, salty, and spicy. It's a dish that represents the complexity of life itself, simple yet profound. In Tokyo, food stalls are rare. The streets are filled with modern restaurants and cafes, all neatly arranged, but in Bangkok, the street food scene feels more connected to the soul of the city. It's as if the vendors themselves are part of the landscape, weaving together food, tradition, and community in a way that's truly unique. Let's step back in time and explore the cultural roots of street food in Thailand. Street food culture dates back hundreds of years, with its origins often traced to the Ayutthaya period in the 15th century. During that time, trade was booming, and food markets sprang up along the riverbanks to feed workers and merchants who were too busy to cook at home. But beyond convenience, street food became a part of the social fabric. It was, and still is, a way for people to connect with their community. In Tokyo, food often feels like a personal experience. People eat quickly and move on. But in Bangkok, eating feels like a shared experience. Families, friends, and strangers come together at these street stalls, bonding over bowls of noodles or plates of spicy curry. I saw children laughing, elderly couples sharing meals, and groups of friends excitedly discussing what to order next. It's in these moments that I felt a deeper connection to the people around me, even as a visitor. Let's take a moment to meet some of the incredible women working behind the stalls. Each of these women has a unique story, a reason why they ended up in the fast-paced, demanding world of street food. Take Ploy, for example, a single mother in her 30s who runs a popular pad thai stall. She started her business when her husband left, leaving her to care for their son alone. For Ploy, cooking isn't just a job, it's a way to take control of her life again. You can feel her energy when you approach her stall, the clanging of the wok, the quick sizzle of noodles hitting the hot oil, and Ploy's hands moving in a blur as she prepares each dish with precision. She says, "The trick to a perfect pad thai is in the timing. You have to keep an eye on the noodles. They need to be just soft enough to absorb the sauce, but not so soft that they lose their bite." But beyond the technical skill, it's her emotional connection to the food that stands out. She tells me, "When I cook, I feel like I'm feeding more than just my customers. I'm feeding my community. They come here because my food reminds them of home." Then there's Nuan, an older woman who's been running a somtam stall for over 40 years. She carefully selects the freshest green papayas, pounding them with chilies and lime in her heavy mortar. Her food is a reflection of her past. Each dish tells a story of her family, her heritage, and the deep connection she has to her customers. But life as a street vendor isn't always easy, especially for women. Ploy and Nguyen both face long hours, often working from sunrise to well past sunset. The heat can be intense, with the sun beating down on them and the flames of the stove constantly burning at their side. For women like Ploy, balancing work and family is another challenge. She has to wake up at 4 a.m. to prepare ingredients and make sure her son gets to school on time. In Tokyo, my life feels structured and predictable. I can plan my day to the minute, but here in Bangkok, life feels less certain. But that's also what makes it so alive. These women face so much uncertainty every day, whether they'll have enough customers, whether they'll make enough money, but they face it with strength and grace. It made me realize that while I value structure, there's something beautiful about embracing the unknown. So what keeps these women going? Why do they keep showing up day after day, despite the physical and emotional challenges? For many of them, it's about more than just survival. It's about a sense of duty, a commitment to their community, and for some it's also about tradition. Nguyen explains, "Every morning I give some of my food to the monks as they pass by. It's part of my duty as a Buddhist, but it's also my way of giving back." In Buddhism, this is called making merit, a way to gain positive karma through acts of generosity. For Nguyen, this daily ritual gives her strength and purpose. She says, "Even when the days are hard, I know I'm doing something good. That gives me peace." For Ploy, it's her son that keeps her going. She says, "I want my son to see that no matter what happens in life, we can always find a way to survive and thrive. I'm doing this for him." So what can we learn from these women? They're more than just vendors. They're mothers, daughters, and community leaders. Their strength doesn't just come from their hard work. It comes from their deep sense of connection to their families, their traditions, and their community. As I reflect on the time I spent with Ploy and Nguyen, I'm reminded that resilience doesn't always come in grand gestures. Sometimes, it's in the small, everyday moments. It's in the smile that Ploy gives to every customer, even after a long day, and in the care that Nguyen puts into every dish, no matter how many she's made that day. In Tokyo, I often feel like I'm chasing efficiency and productivity, but here I'm reminded of the value in slowing down, in taking time to connect with the people around me. So the next time you find yourself in Bangkok, stop by a street food stall, take a moment to appreciate not just the food, but the incredible women behind it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Naomi, and I'll be back next time with more stories of incredible people. Until then, take care and keep finding strength in the small things.